So we're ready for the mane. This is going to cover up that nasty seam that I had when I tried to cover my ball. I wasn't worried about doing a great job because I knew I'd cover it up, which is the story of my life. Actually not that good, I just know how to hide all my mistakes. Okay, so I roll this fairly thin. This is the egg yellow fondant that I originally used with the ivory. Okay, and I have my Garrett frill cutter here. This needs to be fairly thin. Okay, there you go. And then you need to cut the seam to open it up. Now, the next part is really important. You need to keep this in front of you, and it needs to not stick to the counter. So make sure you've got plenty of cornstarch down here so it doesn't stick, or whatever you're using for non-sticking. Okay, and then we can use anything to roll this out. You can use the end of a paintbrush, you can use a toothpick, you can use your knife tool, the end of your knife tool. Like I said, a toothpick will work too, anything you've got to roll. But the key is to keep it in front of you. You roll back and forth twice. Make sure it's not sticking to the counter, and then on to the next one. Okay? And I'm just rolling right in the middle of those little loops. You can roll through them if you want, but see how it's stuck? You got to lift that up. Make sure it doesn't stick. And it doesn't matter, again, what you use. You can use a paintbrush, toothpick, whatever tapered tool you have on hand. Okay, this is how I do frilling. Okay, so you want to get this whole thing frilled. And if it's, the harder you press, the more frill you get, okay? So if you don't press very hard, it doesn't frill very much. You can always go back, I'm going to change tools, you can always go back and press some more and frill it some more. You can always do some more. And I know it doesn't look frilled, but when you lift it up, then it's frilly. Okay? So we've got our frill. So now what we've got to do is some damage control and hide the seam. Now I put the ears in front of that seam. See? The ears are in front. This mane is going to go right on top of that seam, and it's going to hide it. Okay? And it's going to go all the way around. So if you will give me a little leeway here, I've got to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to put a little sugar glue on here, right on that seam, because that's what I'm going to hide. And then I'm going to stick this frill on. You got to make sure it's nice and thin, or it's not going to stay. Okay. And it really doesn't matter where you start and stop. You're pretty much going to overlap it anyway. Got a little carried away with the glue there. I'm going to glue this up here so he stays. There we go. Give it a little tuck here so it frills a little bit. You know, and give it a wave back and forth so it frills. You can do that. Okay. And then you need to complete that all the way around, and that means around here too. So you're just going to tuck it in underneath here. Okay, we need to go all the way around. Okay, so I have my next ruffle, and I've put a little bit of this gum glue on here and underneath, just right where the head meets the body. And all you're going to do is just put those together like so. And see, I'm just going to tuck it in right here where it meets the body. See, I just gave that a little tuck. You need a little bit more to go around. It only takes 3 of these to go around this head. If you roll it too thick, it's going to keep falling off. Okay, so make sure it's nice and thin. Otherwise the weight of the fondant will pull it off, so make sure it's thin. So if you find it keeps falling off, either you don't have the glue on or you've rolled it too thick. Okay. Okay, and then the last one I would just attach here. It actually wouldn't take a whole one. Okay, so you get the general idea of that.